Hey guys, my name is Kai, and with set 7.5 being almost a week old now, I wanted to talk about a fundamental concept known as itemization. Because believe it or not, even in Masters plus Elo, there's a bunch of people who are still itemizing their units incorrectly. By understanding how to itemize your units properly, not only will you be able to find more consistency within your playstyle, but you'll be able to climb up a lot quicker as well. Before we can talk about itemization, we first need to talk about a concept known as slamming. The term slamming refers to the process of equipping your units with either an item or a component. For example, let's pretend that this is Graves, and Graves doesn't have any items slammed. But if we take this Sunfire Cape and we just slam it onto Graves, now we have slammed a Sunfire Cape onto Graves. Pretty straightforward. But why is this important? Like, isn't slamming items the most basic concept in beginner TFT ever? Like, how are Masters players still fucking suck? Well, for one, you should be slamming your items as soon as you can. And I mean that quite literally. You should never really be in a point in the game where you have more than 3 components on your bench, almost ever. There's a difference between having suboptimal items and just playing suboptimal. A lot of players mess up by being too hesitant on slamming items because they're either waiting too long for the perfect item or they don't want to slam suboptimal items. It can be scary, but if you're slamming items in the early game, you're very unlikely to keep the same units in your endgame board. Don't be afraid to slam items onto whatever strong units you hit early, because chances are you're probably going to end up selling those anyways as you upgrade your board for better units. So now you might be asking, well, why would I slam at all? Why don't I just keep the components on my bench until I actually find the good units? That's because even if you were going to lose anyways, the amount of HP that you preserve by slamming some items and killing like 1 or 2 extra units each and every fight can actually end up being the deciding factor as to whether or not you go top 4 in a lot of higher ranked lobbies. The little bit of HP preservation at each and every fight goes a really long way by the end of the game. But then this also brings up another question. How do you know what items to slam? Well, as you improve, you're going to notice a lot of patterns in the game. You see your opener and you go, oh, this looks like a Xayah game, or oh, this might look like an Astral game. When you have strong direction early, slam items that fit the direction that you're already heading. When you don't know where you're going, which is the majority of the time, just slam an item that works with your board. Most endgame boards have some form of AD, some form of AP, and a tank. So you really can't go wrong with slamming something. Just make sure that you have a general idea as to where you're going, so you generally have an idea as to how you're going to fit that item into your comp. Work with what's given to you. So now that we understand item slamming, we need to talk about itemization, because this is the part where even players in Masters Plus fuck this up. When it comes to itemizing your units, there are 5 things you need to keep in mind when itemizing your units. These are flexibility, compatibility, synergies, necessities, and counters. By mastering these 5 concepts, you'll honestly be doing way better than most Masters players. First off is flexibility. Flexibility refers to how many other units can utilize an item well. The most obvious example would be tank items. Since most tanks share most tank items, slamming a tank item in the early game can actually be very beneficial. This ensures that you keep your board strong, your HP high, and ensures that you have items for your tanks in the late game. The second thing to think about is compatibility. This refers to how compatible an item is for a specific unit. There's bad compatibility, good compatibility, and BIS compatibility. BIS is BIS, or best in slot. I personally just abbreviate it to BIS, so you'll hear me say the word BIS a lot. First off, let's look at Warmogs. Warmogs is bad compatibility with damage dealing units like Xayah or Lux, and good compatibility with tank units like Idris or Bomb. That's pretty straightforward. But then there's BIS compatibility, where an item is really good on a unit because it works really well with both their traits and their abilities. Warmogs has BIS compatibility with units like Nunu, because 1, Nunu is a Cavalier. Because he's a Cavalier, Cavaliers have innate armor and MR, so you don't even have to build armor and MR, you can just build straight HP on it. Second is that Nunu's ability actually deals true damage when his HP is higher than his opponent, which is why even though he can be a damage dealing carry, nobody builds any sort of AP on him. They just build straight HP and healing items instead. That's why you sometimes see people run Dragonmancer Nunu, where it gives them some AP, a lot of HP, on top of Warmogs and a Bloodthirster. That thing is damn near unkillable and does a crazy amount of true damage. Obviously, in a perfect world, you would want BIS compatible items onto every single one of your units, but obviously that is not the case. In most cases, you're gonna have a carry with 2 or 3 BIS items, and the rest are just good compatible items. You won't ever really see higher elo players have bad compatibility with their items and units unless there's nobody else to throw the items on and the raw stats are just better than nothing. Third is necessity. Necessity refers to how important an item is for a specific unit. Now, while these items are not mandatory, some of these units really need these items to close out a top 4, especially in higher elo lobbies. Now, I know that does sound daunting, but again, in the current set, it's not that difficult to hit at least 2 or 3 of your best in slot items for your carry. If you're greedy to the point where you don't hit your best in slot items until Treasure Dragon, you probably should have just played a different comp and think about how you could have played the game more flexibly. Just to give you guys some examples, examples, some of these items include Ginsu's on Xayah, Blue Buff on Psalm, Edge of Night on YUHYUH, or Last Whisper on Graves. Again, they're not necessary, but very, very, very good to have if you are running those units. Then there's these last two, counters and synergy. These two concepts are the ones that I would argue are the most difficult and where players tend to fail the most. Counters refers to countering your opponents, as some lobbies you might need to build specifically in order to counter your opponent's board. The best way to demonstrate this concept is if I give you guys a small pop quiz, and I want you guys to play along and see if you can arrive at the correct answer. Let's go. Okay, so pop quiz. It is stage 4-1. Wolves round has just and you econ to level 7 and you rolled all the way down at 4-1 in the hopes of trying to find some siphons and a whisper board. But instead you found Itis 2, Xayah 2, and you've decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna pivot into Rage Wings from the spot. Because your HP is low at this point and you have no money because of the roll down, you're unsure if you're gonna hit Chiffon in this game. Needless to say, this is going to be your board for a while. And then as you scout the lobby, you're not that concerned. You look like you can beat everybody else except this Giga High Roller, who is already sitting on 6 Lee Sins, has JGBT on him already, 6 Dragonmancer, and it looks like he's gonna hit his Lee Sin 3 pretty soon. This guy is probably the only guy in the lobby right now who can probably beat your board. But again, with your current board right now, you speculate that you can probably make it to stage 5-1, if not 5-3, until your board starts to fall off. Now, since Wolves round has just ended, our bench is littered with components here. What do you guys think that we should build from the spot, and who should we slam items on? I'm going to leave a transcript of the question up here just in case you need it, and feel free to pause the video if you need to. And once you have an idea as to which items you want to slam and onto who, feel free to unpause the video and see if you're correct. Alright, so have you guys made a decision yet? Because I'm going to assume that you have. The correct answer from this spot, in my opinion, is QSS on Itis here, IE on Xayah. The IE is a bit more debatable, but QSS on Itis is definitely correct. So now you might be wondering, well, okay, why the fuck would I do this? Why would I QSS Itis? That doesn't sound right at all. Like, Xayah's best items are QSS Ginsu's Giant Slayer. Why wouldn't I just do that instead? Also, isn't 3 items better than 2? Don't I just Thief's Glove Itis here and then I just throw the Bloodthirster on Xayah? You could, but there's a couple problems with this idea. First, Thief's Glove, the 2 items are random. You're leaving it up to RNG, and this is what I call like the Vegas playstyle. You could just RNG this, leave it up to God, Jesus take the wheel. Okay, I am just gonna hope that I just get fucking lucky as hell and I just get 2 tank items here every single fucking turn. That's highly unrealistic. Also, Bloodthirster on Xayah, you could, again, it's not bad, it's good compatibility, but Rage Wing already has innate healing inside of the trait itself. It's a little redundant. So why QSS on Itis? Why not on Xayah? Well, here's the thing. Like I've said before, you've already speculated you beat everybody else inside of this lobby, and the only one you don't beat is the Lee Sin player. The way that Lee Sin works is that Lee Sin will kick your front line into your back line. And if that's the case, 1 kick is all it takes for this Xayah to get 1 shot. Even if you throw this QSS onto Xayah, Lee Sin will still kick Itis into Xayah. Sure, she doesn't get CC'd, but she's probably going to get 1 shot. There's nothing that you can do to avoid that. But if you QSS Itis in this spot, Lee Sin can't kick Itis. He'll kick Itis for damage, but it won't shoot the Itis into the Xayah. Your odds of winning the fight against the Lee Sin player are dramatically higher if you QSS your frontline unit that you know Lee Sin's gonna be stuck on. Also, QSS lasts for 15 seconds. The round is 30 seconds long. 15 seconds is a long time. By the time Itis can actually get kicked, or maybe it dies, the fight's already halfway over. Chances are Xayah's already done a good job trying to clean and trying to kill the units that are on the board. And even if you lose against the Lee Sin player, which is pretty unlikely to be honest, chances are it's gonna be a good loss. And again, you win against everybody else in the lobby. By QSSing Itis from this spot, you're almost guaranteed your 5 streak into 5. Now here comes all the Plat and Diamond players and the Masters players being like, oh, what the fuck, why would you IE on Xayah, blah, GS is best in slot, blah, wait for carousel, blah, yap. Shut the fuck up, dude. You're bad. Remember how I said that even in Masters, there are players who will fuck up their itemization? This is the last concept that we haven't touched upon yet, known as synergies. Synergies refers to how well items work with other items. This is arguably the most complicated one to understand initially, but makes a lot of sense if you just open your eyes a little more and read what the fucking item does 5 head. Back to the previous example, yes, Xayah with an IE slam endgame will not kill frontline units and will not shred units. Yes, that is very true. That is why a lot of people run Ginsu's GS and QSS because, oh, whoop-de-doo, uninterrupted attack speed stacks plus a Giant Slayer means everything will eventually die. Bravo. That's called item synergy. But what if there was an item that we can pair with IE that would shred through frontline? Thinking. Frontline has lots of armor. Shred armor. Has it fucking clicked yet? Ding ding ding, it's Last Whisper. i.e. Last Whisper work very well in conjunction with one another because even if the unit's very tanky, yes, Last Whisper will shred the armor and the crit damage will just go bonkers. That way, even if you're not running BIS Xayah, i.e. Last Whisper Ginsu Xayah still hits like a fucking truck. A lot of items in this game work very well in conjunction with one another, and it just takes a little bit of creative thinking to figure out which items work best. Other examples of item synergies include Death Cap and GS, i.e. JG, Redemption and Warbomb. The list goes on. Just think a little bit more and you'll be able to find a lot more examples. But keep in mind, synergizing most of the time is just a way to optimize the components that you're given. Just because the item synergize well doesn't mean that it's the best in slot item for the unit that you're playing. i.e. Last Whisper Ginsu Xayah is still going to lose compared to a Ginsu's GS QSS Xayah. But you just gotta play with what you're given. Because at the end of the day, the best items for any carry are items that work not only well with each other, but also work in conjunction with a unit's abilities and traits. Thank you guys for making it to the end of this video, and give yourselves a little pat on the back. I know this one was denser than the last one for sure, but you guys showed a lot of love on the last one, and I genuinely really appreciated it. It's easily the best video on my channel as of right now, and it literally blows my mind for all the support that you guys gave on it. Please make sure you subscribe, like, and comment, and please let me know what else you would like to see. And if you aren't already, please follow me over on Twitch if you want to see more gameplay, or you just want to chill, come hang out, or if you have any questions on improvement, please feel free to ask me. As always, all the links are down below in the description. If you want to see the previous video, I will leave a little, let me move over to the side here so I don't fuck myself later. I'm going to leave a little thing over here, and hopefully I will see you guys all later. Take care, guys. All right, bye bye.